Hello friends and welcome back to League on Lock. Eric and Mark here, and if you remember way back at the start of the LCS summer split, before it even started, we were handing out, who's going to win MVP, who's going to be standout performers, and we said, who's going to get rookie of the split? And at that point, there were no rookies. It was all veterans in the LCS, and so we were kind of thinking, maybe Alorum pops up for Optic, which he did, but probably not going to earn Rookie of the Split honors. But yeah, fast forward 7 weeks to where we are now, there's been quite a few rookies that have seen the stage, and that makes the award for Rookie of the Split much more interesting, and we got it narrowed down to pretty much 2 candidates, and one of them is not Grigg. Although it looked like it could have been for the first couple of weeks, but
If all it took to get Rookie of the Split was winning 50-50 smite fights, Grigg, 100% of the way.
Yeah.
But the problem is you need to have impact in other aspects of the game. So, performances like a, 5-0 Kindred to start a game and that finishes with 10k damage and less than a support Morgana, that's not so great. That's not so great.
I mean, Morgana does a lot of damage. You can build her AP now, so I'm trying to help my boy out. They could have had back-to-back Rookie of the Splits on their team, but nonetheless, they will not. The first guy we got to look at is, of course, Blabber on C9, who not in a million years would either of us have predicted Blabber to be on this list. But he came up, and he has been the spark that C9 needed. They're 5-1 since he came up.
And that is in no way a comment about what his performance had been in the academy beforehand. He had shown glimpses of, he
was great.
There's definitely something here. This is someone that deserves a shot at a bigger stage. But we didn't think that it would come at the expense of someone like Svenskeren, who has been established in the League of Legends pro scene for quite a while, and what he can bring to your team. And seeing the other issues that Cloud9 had, we didn't think that that would be the problem. But man, he has come in and absolutely provided that fresh air that you've wanted from this jungler position for Cloud9. He's making those decisive calls and they're working out for him. And I want to say you also got to give him super credit. I don't know if you've heard the call from I think it was a week ago when they were at Baron and Smithy came in to try and steal it, and he says, you know what, I'm Kindred, I've got my ultimate, I'll put it down here, bait out that smite, and then once the ult wears off, we take the Baron there. It was a great shot calling play there, and I think that was something that C9 had been missing from the jungler position with Svenskeren, and I really like what Blabber's done since he's been on the LCS stage.
Yeah, he's been extremely vocal on this C9 squad, as you can hear in some of the mic checks, and he even sounds a bit like Hyde. His voice, I'm just going to say, the way he speaks and carries himself sounds a little bit like Hyde. But yeah, they are performing at a totally different level with him in the lineup. And Cloud9, they look like a bit of genius for, all these roster swaps, all the criticism that they deservedly deserved. That makes sense. But since Blabber's come up, and he looks like a beautiful, young NA talent that they brought up, which is a rare thing to see these days.
Yeah, it certainly is, and so it's going to be a tough one for him because Blabber has to be the front runner right now, but I think that you also have to remember Lost has come up and he has provided some strong performances, and hey, we were criticism heavily put on to the idea of having an oceanic import here in North America.
I love it.
Given how important it is to have these Koreans come into your import slots, or the EU best in the West bot lane come in and take up those import slots, Lost says, hey, you guys are missing out not checking in on the Oceanic region because, man, he has really performed well for Echo Fox, and it's kind of a nice situation that it's a roster that, there's a lot of good things already in place for Echo Fox, that it does let in that, hey, if you've got some skill as an AD carry coming in here, you're going to actually do really well because everything else around you is supported pretty well.
Yeah, and listen, the main thing we've seen with so many Korean imports is, of course, that communication barrier, the language barrier. So bringing in someone from the OPL, it makes more sense.
It's and 200 IQ.
200 IQ, that's right. And he's already been in the Academy League for a little while now. He's only played 4 games on Echo Fox, but I mean, Blabber's only played 6 for Cloud9. But both guys, some of the early game for Lost, specifically against that CLG one, he started 0-3, and you're like, uh-oh, that's not looking so good. Then he ends up finishing the game 12-3, 12 straight kills for him, and he has looked better than Altec did for the majority of his time on Echo Fox. So I think this looks like a little diamond in the rough for Echo Fox as well. And both those guys, I would Wouldn't be surprised if either of them take home Rookie of the Split award. Depends how they do in the last 2 weeks.
Yep, and a big-time feather in the cap for loss there, as you saw those highlights going against TSM, taking down Sven and Mithy, the quote-unquote best bot lane in the West, and taking them down in a matchup where it was the Lucian into them, someone who's a lane bully that can take advantage of you. Nuh-uh. Lost, and Smoothie definitely won that one. Smashed lane there against the best bot lane in the West. Really impressive performance from him. And I think that that's, again, another thing that goes in towards possibly earning him that Rookie of the Split.
I think it's time to officially retire the title of best in the West for Sven and Mithy. Sorry, guys. I was your biggest, I was pro you guys. Still thought you could come through, but this late in the summer split, I think that title is gone on to somewhere else. Technically, it's Sharn and Wadid because they won.
It certainly is technically theirs.
So it's theirs to keep. A bit of a Rift roundup, few things that have been going around this scene. Fnatic says 2 top laners is not enough. We're signing a third. They brought Expect onto the squad, and now with 80 carries coming back in the meta, it really doesn't look like Reckless is coming back, even if you can play marksman, when there's 3 top laners you're going to have to get through to get that to get back in the lineup. It's insane.
I mean, I can kind of get what they're doing here, but if you'll allow me a Yu-Gi-Oh reference, this is basically like trying to assemble Exodia, but you're assembling him with 3 left hands. This isn't working. You can't, it doesn't work that way by just
really
stacking top
left
laners.
hand.
Yeah, this is not exactly what you need to be doing, but I think all jokes aside, when you're looking at this type of move, this is a move for Expect to come in and, kind of provide some mentorship, a little bit of outside insight into what's going on with their team and specifically that top lane, and as well as help them prepare when they're going to be eventually, after this summer split, heading towards Korea for their boot camp to get ready for Worlds. He will be there to help them with that.
I can't see Reckless coming back into the lineup. Why break up this Fnatic roster that's looking so darn good? You don't want to mess with that synergy. So I don't think we're seeing Reckless at all in 2018 summer. But that's all the time today for League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you. Thank you guys so much for joining us. See you tomorrow.